What is going on, The Catch fam? My name is John Dawson, and in today's video, we'll be going over 3 handcuffs at the running back position moving into the 2022 fantasy football season who I believe you should be targeting in each and every one of your 2022 fantasy football drafts. If you do enjoy today's content, be sure to hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button, join The Catch fam on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and of course drop a comment down below with any thoughts on today's running backs or any running backs who you believe are better overall handcuffs to be targeting. Obviously, Tony Pollard is probably the hottest name in the handcuff discussion moving into the 2022 fantasy football season with the amount of production we saw him put out last year, but I kind of view him in the same sense as AJ Dillon, so I'm not going to be including him on today's list. I really see him as a running back who gets touches and production, even if Ezekiel Elliott is completely healthy, similar to how AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are both playing throughout the season, regardless of each other's health. Now, don't get me wrong, if Zeke goes down, Pollard obviously is going to see a ton more production, but I just wanted to clarify, I don't think Pollard is really in the handcuff discussion anymore. I think he's more of one of those 50-50 type backs who's getting a split with a running back one, and when both are healthy, they're going to play. When one is not healthy, the other is going to have far more production. So just wanted to clarify that before we hop in today's video. All right, first on the list is my guy Alexander Madison. This one should be pretty straightforward. When Dalvin Cook is not playing, Alexander Madison is essentially Dalvin Cook. Last year in games where Madison started, he had an insane amount of fantasy points, double-digit fantasy points in every single one of those performances, and 20 points in 3 out of 4 of those games, 16 in one of those games. And overall, Madison is just an extremely talented running back. We did see Dalvin Cook miss some time last year, so this was a very good, almost case study as to what to expect out of Madison overall. Looking at Cook last year, he really shocked a lot of people with being able to come back so quickly from that shoulder injury he suffered last season. But on average, he misses about 3 games a season. He missed a lot more time earlier in his career, but over the last 3 years, since he's been very fantasy relevant, he's missed at least 3 games in every single season. So don't get me wrong, you guys might not want to go out and spend a draft pick on a player who's only going to give you production 3 to 4 games a season, looking at Cook's injuries over the past 3 years. But at the end of the day, if you don't go out and draft him, he is going to be your #1 waiver priority at some point in the season, because we've just seen this happen too much on a consistent basis. And in general, someone in your league will probably go out and draft Alexander Madison for that very reason. I just think he is one of the most clear-cut handcuff situations to have on your bench throughout the fantasy season. Next up on the list, we move to a running back room in the same division with the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about Kahlil Herbert, who filled in very nicely last season for David Montgomery when he did miss some time. Monty last season did miss a couple games, only started in 13 games last season. Similar to Dalvin Cook, he has missed some time throughout almost all of his career. And I love David Montgomery, do not get me wrong at all, but Kahlil Herbert really looked like a talented running back last season. And if you're banking on Monty having any more injuries, as he does kind of play like a bell cattle type running back who gets a lot of touches and a lot of difficult touches as well, I really think that Herbert is a phenomenal handcuff overall. I would put him right next to Madison as one of the more high value handcuffs you can go out and get for essentially free. I mean, basically, outside of best ball drafts or very deep drafts right now, we're seeing Kahlil Herbert go completely undrafted. Don't get me wrong, the Chicago Bears probably not going to have the best offense overall next season, but at the end of the day, there's probably going to be weeks next year where Kahlil Herbert is a RB1, and if you don't go out and draft him, you're probably going to be fighting for him on the waiver wire. So I quite like Herbert in terms of a handcuff at the running back position moving into 2022. All right, last on the list for today, we've got Justin Jackson, who will be your handcuff to Austin Eckler, who historically does deal with injuries, although last season he only missed one game dealing with injuries. What seemed like all season long was extremely reliable, so take this with a grain of salt. But on top of that, the Chargers are expected to be one of the better offenses in the NFL next season, and I think just having Jackson on your bench is going to be 100% worth it if, God forbid, we do see anything happen to our guy Austin Eckler, who, like I said, does have a history of some injuries. So I quite like Jackson, who didn't do a ton last season outside of week 16, where guess who did not play? Austin Eckler, and Justin Jackson just absolutely balled out. Now, granted, that was against the Houston Texans, who were one of the worst teams against the run last season. But overall, historically, when Justin Jackson has had to fill in for Eckler or even for Melvin Gordon in the past, he has done exceptionally well at the running back position. Like I said, the Chargers are going to be a high-powered offense next season. I want every bit and piece I can possibly get. So Justin Jackson is actually one of my favorite handcuffs to guard and draft, because once again, you can get him dirt cheap basically at the very end of your draft. And on top of that, out of the running backs that we named in today's video, I think he is easily in the best offensive situation moving into 2022. And I 100% think he is one of the best handcuff situations to add to your 2022 fantasy draft boards. And that'll do it for today's video. If you did enjoy today's content, make sure to hit that like button down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the Catch fam on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And of course, drop a comment down below with what handcuffs at the running back position you are targeting moving into the 2022 fantasy football season. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch.